I'm Ben Powers from Monroe Instruments, and this is how to use the calibration jig. It is important that when mounting the calibration jig, either on a desk or on the wall, that the jig is perfectly levelled. Failure to properly level and secure the jig will mean that measurements taken from it will be incorrect. Because of this, it is recommended that you recheck the level of the jig regularly with a high quality level, rather than the level used here for demonstration purposes. Here we are testing the lateral centre of gravity of the pendulum arm using the paired knife edges. If the foot tends to pitch up or down, it is unbalanced. Next we are using the single knife edge to determine the longitudinal centre of gravity. Note that the captive nut is positioned at the very end of the arm. Once balanced, the longitudinal centre of gravity can be marked as a future datum point. The mark can be seen clearly here. The jig provides the ability to check the straightness of a pointer, and marking the inside of the pointer when properly aligned on the jig gives us a mark that we can then use to check the pointer balance. When placing the pointer with this mark aligned on the left-hand knife edge, a perfectly balanced pointer will align with the mark on the right-hand knife edge, as shown here. Now we're going to set the spring tension at 4.5mm deflection using the jig. First you'll want to mount the foot upside down on the top shelf of the jig. There are recesses in the jig to allow secure placement. Then you can remove the screws and cover plate to expose the mounting point on the slider lift arm. Monroe machines come with a threaded hole in the arm for this purpose, but some machines do not. If no hole is present, one will need to be drilled and tapped for this test. A bolt is inserted into the hole in the lift arm, with care taken to ensure it doesn't foul the foot behind. A mass as prescribed by the relevant test standard can now be hung on this bolt, and the deflection measured using a suitable plunge gauge held above the slider at the top of the jig. Here we add weight and work the spring, letting it come to rest at its natural balance point, repeating the process until 4.5mm of deflection is achieved. We then remove and weigh the mass to determine spring tension. The spring tension can then be adjusted if necessary. If you have any queries regarding the calibration process, don't hesitate to get in touch. We'll be happy to help where we can.